Hi, this is Jacqueline here with the Grow Program. Thank you for tuning in. I wanted to, talk about life. Well, this podcast, the Grow Program, I live the Grow Program. I talk about it before. I live it. And living the Grow Program means living in honor to God, and being truthful to myself, who I really am, being in touch with my spirituality. And I absolutely love it, and being in touch with my spirituality, it means not denying who I really am, just looking at me as me, and saying, I love me and I love who I am, being in touch with God, and meditating. I love to meditate. I sit and think and meditate and the spirits give me what to say, the things to talk about, because I'm going to tell you something in this life. I have went through a lot. I've been through a whole lot. And now I know why. For a time such as this, so I can tell you about it. And tell you don't want to go down that road, because I done been to the school of hard knocks. I graduated with a PhD. And I don't want you to get in that school. I want you to learn. I want you to learn without having to go in there, because that school is very hard to graduate. A lot of times people don't make it out of there. Everybody go in there, but you don't make it out. The school of hard knocks is rough. It really is. I'm going to tell you something. When I was 19, I left and got out of school and I wanted to serve my country. I went in the military and I was determined to serve my country. I was happy to serve my country. I think about this on Veterans Day. And my thoughts to all the veterans who have served this country. My thanks to you. I am indebted to you, because you did something I couldn't do. And I appreciate it. It just didn't work for me. I don't take orders very well. I know that. I realized that with this last marriage, that I don't take orders at all. Really good. On the job I can, but I kind of work jobs that I work by myself. I noticed that. That's why I'm a bus driver, or was a bus driver. And, because I don't have no supervisor riding with me to tell me what to do. I know how to drive. Okay, so I don't take orders. So that's why my military life was cut very short. And I quit. I got out of it because I was like, no, this ain't for me. I'm folding the underwear and the shorts and everything the way you tell me, but you still telling me it ain't right. Well, then this ain't for me. If I can't get it right and it ain't working, somebody need to do something. We can't, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. You got to come up out of that. So then I realized that wasn't for me. And then I tried college. College wasn't for me either. I dropped out of college. So, that didn't work. And, but I always knew that I had somebody watching over me. God, looking out for me, because I done been in some situations. I done been in, where I almost lost my life a few times. Not at my own hands, but just being involved in situations, different things, and all that'll come out later. I like to talk about the house too. I like talking about that because the house is what began the Grow Program. The house is what taught me about spirituality and knowing that there's a spiritual realm. When we leave here, we are in the physical realm, and there's a spiritual realm when we leave here. But what you want to do while you're here on this physical realm, you want to do right. You want to do people right. If you listening to this podcast, you need to turn your life around, because now you can't turn around. Okay, so you need to straighten your life out. You need to straighten your heart out. You need to stop oppressing yourself. You need to stop oppressing other people. There's a whole lot going on, and a lot of different topics that I talk about. I get on the church, I get on the community, I get on the pastor, I get on the husband, I get on the wife. We all got to be doing right. Even the kids. The kids got to be lined up and in order and doing right. I talk about beating on the kids. We can't do that no more. We can't beat them. Because beating come from whooping come from slavery and beatings and all of that, all that tie in together. So we got to stop doing that, people. We got to come up. We got to do better. We already got the government telling us you can't beat your kids no more like you used to. So you can't do that. You can't whoop them. You can't leave marks on them. And these kids nowadays, if you whoop them, they'll go tell the police they sell. So you need to quit doing that and think about some better ways to teach these children, because I got something for my grandbaby. My son done took him shopping. I'm just going to give you some examples. I have to, because this is my life. This podcast, the Grow Program, is my life. and I got to help you trying to help somebody else, and maybe somebody else come back around and help me. Okay, so this boy done went to the store with his uncle. And come walking out the store, he decided to flip off the security camera. So, when he get back here, he gonna write some sentences. And I ain't got to whoop him, because see, the sentences is what's gonna whoop him. Because he gonna put in his mind all these sentences he getting ready to write. And he gonna put in his mind that he ain't even gonna think about no birds or flipping off nobody or none of that when I get through with him. See, that's what we got to do, people. We got to just think of different ways to start teaching these children positively. One way we could teach them positively is be a role model. Because look, our children really don't have no role models to look up to. I mean, they got the basketball players, but how often do they see them? Never on TV. Do they come by the house and take them out and go do things with them? No, they don't. Okay, so we are the role models. So we got to show our lives and show up and show out in front of these kids and show these kids how you supposed to live. Show them right from wrong in a positive way. Set your life as an example, because I'm going to tell you something. You can tell a child all day, do as I say, not as I do. That child say, okay, they go right behind you and do as you doing. They want to be like you. They your mini-me's, they going to do everything you doing and show up and show out on you. So people, we got to do better. We got to come out of oppression. We got to start thinking better. One thing I noticed is a lot of churches, a lot of liquor stores in the inner city, and both of them need to go. We don't need no more churches. We don't need no more liquor stores. What the church can do is open up the doors and let some people come in there and live. Turn it into a center for where somebody can come in and find a job or learn about something. Pastor, we got to do better. I just don't understand. How one person can come up and then you don't think about the community that help you up. You don't think about all these people now. You got the coronavirus going around. This virus, it's really serious. It's a slight chance that you could really get, you die from it. There's that chance though. There is that chance. So you have to take this virus serious. You can't be joking around. You really should wear your mask. You should wash your hands. Try to social distance as much as you can. It's hard. It is, because this is something new that we just got thrown into. And we got to do right, people. We have to listen to the scientists. These people didn't go to school for nothing. They didn't learn for nothing. They didn't study the earth for nothing. They studied to teach us and tell us. The man tell us when a hurricane is coming, we listen. So if a virus is here and it's killing people, what, you ain't gonna listen? You just gonna die? You ain't gonna wear no mask? You don't take it out on somebody else and expose them? You really gonna do that? You need to come out of that and start thinking better. Start thinking better about yourself. Stop. Man, that's really bad. You won't even wear a mask. Try, and it'll save your life. It may save somebody else's life. You don't know what somebody else may have. And next thing you know, they went to coffin. It's too late now. Can't put no mask on now. So you need to start wearing your mask. We have to be responsible. We have to listen to these doctors and these scientists and these people who know what they talking about. I understand, the weatherman get it wrong. That's different. But when you got a warning, you need to heed warnings. That's why I'm telling you now. I got a warning. I know something. Because if you don't get it right before you leave the physical realm, when you get to the spiritual realm, you got to answer. Because God judges your heart. So you need to come out of oppression. You need to change the way you're thinking, the way you're doing people, the way you're doing yourself, the way you're doing others. I don't care if you're on drugs. You need to come up out of that because you're doing wrong to yourself. You locking up your mind and you can't even think right. You don't need drugs. You know how to do all kind of things. You know how to build a house. But you rather be on drugs and sit there and look crazy. Ain't got no car to drive, but you know all these skills. You know how to do all this different stuff. You should have money in your pocket. You should have a house that you living in. You should be building wealth right about now. You shouldn't be sitting there stuck on stupid looking crazy. When you get your income tax next year, don't go out and buy no Gucci bags, because the Gucci bags ain't gonna bring you no money. Go out to the courthouse and get you a list of properties. Buy you some property. Start building up. Start building wealth. Start buying down there in Detroit. Buying up there in St. Louis. Buying around there in New York. Start building up these properties, these tore-up buildings. These kids shouldn't be looking at tore-up buildings, liquor stores, and strip clubs. We don't need none of that. Don't demean yourself in no strip club, young lady. I'm going to tell you something. I done got on all that. It's 83 videos. I'm going to get on it again because there's some people that's hard-headed. Like I said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. You still gonna come out looking stupid if you keep on doing stupid. So when you gonna get it together and start learning that, hey, this ain't the way to go. They coming up and I'm going down. So I got to do better. And Pastor, you need to start helping out in the community a little bit better. Now you came up with all that money in the church, tithes and offerings. So now we got some light bills that need to be paid, Pastor, and some phone bills. We got some kids need Wi-Fi. We got some kids that need some curriculum. We got some kids that need shoes, clothes, all this other stuff, Pastor. Just start going around. You know who your congregation is. Just start going around to people and giving them money. Just give them, here, $50 for you. I just want to bless you. Here, a blessing. That's how you do, Pastor. Because I'm going to tell you something. When I come up, that's what I'm supposed to do. I can only live in one house. So I want to help the community. I want to help people have businesses, buy property. I want to see my community, my inner city being beautiful, being built up, build back better. That's what Joe Biden said. Well, that's what I want to do. I want to build up. I would like to meet with him because I want to start getting some stuff going in the community. Every community, not just mine. I'm talking about everywhere. I want Black Wall Street everywhere. All right, I don't want to keep this video too long. I love you. God bless you. And let's grow.